Beneath the surface, the untold story of groundwater depletion, running dry, the hidden crisis beneath our feet. Once celebrated for its verdant fields and crystal clear water, the small community of Bhairavpur stood as a testament to nature's generosity. Nestled in the fertile plains, this rural haven once thrived in harmony with the natural cycles of planting and harvesting. Today, however, an unforgiving sun beats down on parched earth, and wells that once brimmed with life-giving water now stand empty, their depths revealing nothing but cracked soil and broken promises. For countless generations, Bhairavpur's residents relied on the invincible treasure buried deep beneath their feet, ancient aquifers, silently storing water from rainfall that fell centuries ago. This subterranean bounty flowed cool and plentiful, a seemingly eternal resource they never imagined could disappear. At the edge of his field, 52-year-old farmer Ramesh listens to the labored sounds of his struggling water pump. The once powerful stream has diminished to a weak trickle. Perspiration dripping from his weathered face, he gazes across rows of sugarcane, now wilting under the relentless heat. These fields once fulfilled my grandfather's highest aspirations, he says softly. Now they've barely produced enough to keep my children's stomachs from growling. The 1990s brought transformative change when motorized pumping technology became financially accessible to rural communities. Suddenly, underground water seemed limitless. The deeper you drilled, the more you discovered. Government initiatives further accelerated this trend, offering financial incentives and subsidized electricity for groundwater irrigation. Farmers like Ramesh enthusiastically planted water-demanding crops, their confidence buoyed by the seemingly inexhaustible supply beneath their land. But here's where it gets devastating. The Earth's generosity had boundaries, and humanity had recklessly crossed them. The crisis unfolding beneath Bhairavpur mirrors a global catastrophe silently spreading across continents, from America's Central Valley to China's North Plain and throughout the Arabian Peninsula. Subterranean reservoirs are vanishing at alarming rates. Advanced satellite monitoring reveals a disturbing reality. Humanity is emptying these hidden water sources far faster than natural processes can replenish them. Yet this environmental disaster stems not only from excessive consumption, but from something equally dangerous: widespread indifference. For generations, groundwater existed as the unacknowledged backbone of agricultural production, industrial development, and everyday human existence. Unlike visible bodies of water, such as rivers and lakes, these underground reservoirs remained out of sight, and consequently out of mind. Policymakers largely ignored them. Scientific warnings went unheeded, failing to generate the urgent headlines that more visually dramatic disasters commanded. This neglect allowed groundwater depletion to become the silent unraveling of our environmental stability. In Bhairavpur, the transformation happened gradually, almost imperceptibly. Initially, shallow wells began failing. This prompted the installation of deeper pumping systems. Electric bills skyrocketed while crop yields plummeted. Then came something previously unimaginable in this close-knit community. Neighbors began quarreling over water access. Meera, Ramesh's daughter, had recently completed her environmental science degree at a university in the city. Her academic path was shaped by witnessing the environmental changes occurring in her hometown. Now, walking through the struggling fields of her childhood, she feels profound sorrow. Our water table has plunged by 40 feet in just 15 years, she explains to her father, showing him research data she's compiled. This well won't survive another growing season. And what's particularly alarming is the rising concentration of arsenic in the deeper water we're now accessing. Ramesh averts his gaze, shoulders heavy with the weight of unintended consequences. We were left with no alternatives, Meera. Traditional rainfall patterns became unreliable. Government incentives pushed us towards sugarcane cultivation. What other options do farmers like me have? Meera harbors no resentment toward her father. She understands he acted as any devoted parent would, striving to provide for his family. However, she also recognizes the urgency of their situation. We can implement aquifer restoration techniques, she suggests, and explore sustainable farming practices. It's not too late to make a difference, Father. Exposing the water heist, how governments are drying up the planet. Imagine a world where the very foundations of our planet's water supply are under siege. The alarming reality is that drought and sea level rise are not just separate issues, but are in fact intertwined in a devastating paradox. A recent study has revealed that the overpumping of groundwater, worsening droughts, and rapid evaporation due to higher temperatures have led to a drastic decline in the amount of available fresh water. This continental drying has redirected the planet's total water to the oceans, surpassing melting ice sheets as the biggest contributor to global sea level rise. But here's where it gets controversial. The researchers claim that this trend sends perhaps the direst message on the impact of climate change to date. The study's findings are a wake-up call for the general public, resource managers, and decision makers around the world. But continents are drying, freshwater availability is shrimping, and sea level rise is accelerating. The researchers used data from 4 NASA satellites to analyze changes in terrestrial water storage over the past 22 years, tracking the movement of Earth water, including changes to the planet's ice sheets, glaciers, and underground reservoirs. They found that parts of the world that are already dry have been rapidly getting drier since 2014, with drought-ridden regions increasing by an area twice the size of California each year. The study also revealed that every large landmass, except for Greenland and Antarctica, has experienced unprecedented drying since 2002. The consequences of this widespread continental drying will be far-reaching, affecting access to safe drinking water and the ability to grow food in some of the world's richest agricultural regions. As Jay Famiglietti, a professor at Arizona State University School of Sustainability, noted, "We use a lot of water to grow food. If things don't change, we'll see impacts on our food security and just our general water availability." The link between sea level rise and the loss of water locked up in the ground is a consequence of throwing the planet's water cycle into chaos. Many of these changes, such as overpumping groundwater, are thought to be permanent, or at the very least, irreversible for thousands or tens of thousands of years. Alexander Sims, a professor in the Department of Earth Science at the University of California, Santa Barbara, cautioned that if you pull water off the continents, the only place it has to go is in the ocean. The study's findings have sparked debate, with some experts questioning the claim that water loss from the continents has now surpassed ice sheet melt as the biggest contributor to sea level rise. However, the research underscores the critical importance of tracking terrestrial water storage to improve our understanding of future drought, flooding, and water resource availability over land. As Benjamin Hamilton, a research scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, emphasized, the key message here is that water is really a key driver of the changes we see both on land and in the ocean. The question remains, what can be done to mitigate the effects of this paradox and ensure a more sustainable future for our planet's water supply? We invite you to share your thoughts and opinions on this critical issue in the comments below.